Welcome back. You're watching Tokenomics with us at CNBC-TV18, and let's steer focus to Indian markets now. And Sumit, taxes aside, and even if we look at the Indian markets right now, would you say the stance seems to be softening towards the segment? Maybe not positive, but at least neutral.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one and important one, Manisha. And I think, yeah, like from our discussion, I think that definitely seems to be improving slowly. But I think this will all compound, and eventually we'll see sort of more clearer regulations in the long term. I do believe whenever we do any stakeholder meetings and discussions with what's happening globally, this is also making India reevaluate and relook at its stance, with respect to overall crypto industry. Not sure about taxes yet, but I think that will also follow suit over time. In fact, even in the discussion paper, there were a couple of statements that came up that government of India is also looking at the discussion paper, which is supposed to come out. I don't know when it will come out, but it's supposed to come out. And a lot of these developments that are happening globally will also be kept in mind when the government will ask for public comments. And I think the overall perception, seems to be improving for sure, not just in India, but I see a lot of different nations across the world are now looking at this asset class very, very seriously. And how do they come up with regulations, is something that is being discussed. So net, it's not a question of if, whether regulations will come or not. I think it's a question of when and how. Like, how will the regulation shape up, and what all will be covered there, so that customers are protected, so that all the players that are operating and serving customers are operating by the laws of the land. I think there's one difference in 2021 and 2022 when all of these international players were operating in India versus today. Earlier, there was no laws and no uniformity around what every player is doing. But thankfully, now there are several guidelines that all the players, all the VASPs that are operating and serving Indian customers have to abide by, which I think is a good thing and healthier thing for the overall growth of the ecosystem, and make it a compliant ecosystem. So I think that's a good sign that I'm seeing. Yes, it's going to take time, but I think it's happening step by step.
Ashish, what is your sense with the kind of numbers, volumes that we seem to be looking at, and the fact that there are new players who want entry into Indian markets? Does that tell the story by itself?
I think that does, right? The global regulations are changing. India will never be left behind. India is going to catch up, and India is a big, big market, right? Not just from investment point of view, but also from development and building on blockchain point of view, right? So a lot of development is supposed to come from India. Different companies who are promoting on-chain activities. A lot of those on-chain activities needs to be built by developers, and India, as we know, has amazing set of engineers sitting and building things, right? So a lot of crypto development is supposed to happen in India, not just from investment point of view, but also from building point of view. And we believe a lot of users and a lot of companies are yet to come on chain and build on blockchain, right? And which you will see with positive regulations that will start to happen. We have started to see few companies dabble into blockchain and crypto already, but that is just the start. With right policies, right regulations, you will see a lot more companies coming in, solving use cases for users through India, and which products which are built in India, right? So you'll see a lot of developments coming in very soon.
Okay. Dilip, let me take a slightly different route with you. And as we spoke about blockchain, and there's just so much that is happening with AI and blockchain and crypto as well. And, I've been talking to some people, and they were asking me if they can buy gold digitally and if there are gold-backed cryptos as well. So, yes, there is interest from various sectors coming in. How are you looking at an overall segment performing going forward?
So I think, like Sumit mentioned, the investor point of view, but I think Ashish talked about the development perspective and the use cases perspective. What actually is happening as we speak, a lot of state governments and a lot of central government agencies are looking at use cases of, blockchain, VDA-based blockchain applications in different sectors. In fact, in the Niti Aayog website, you will see about 45 of these listed. The second thing which is actually happening here is a lot of private sector entities are looking at using this technology. And of course, you've seen the recent Geo Polygon announcement there. And it's one of the larger companies in India looks at it. Then you have the Flip First application in e-commerce. You're seeing multiple applications happening. And a lot of the companies who are using this, whether it's to fight fraud or for smart contracts or for tokenization, whatever the aspect be, there's a lot happening in the country. And if you will, I think Hast Emergent will come out with their 2024 report, which should have actually come out today or late last night. And you will see the number of use cases going up phenomenally. And it is very interesting. A lot of these things are being developed by small entities here. Middle of, actually end of last year, BWA had done a kind of inventory of startups. There were over 1,000 startups in this space, and we cataloged, over 453 of them. And they're in entertainment space. You can buy clips of Telugu movies because someone is digitizing and tokenizing it, and the royalty goes to the producer, directly. Fan following, a lot of different stuff is happening, and you'll only see it grow because, blockchain and AI are both growing to close to 50% CAGR over the last few years, and the combination of the two, as I earlier, mentioned in your Hyderabad event. Where I said if they combine the two, there's a great application in many industry use cases and government use cases. We had a roundtable with Tamil Nadu where they're looking at government use cases. We are having another roundtable with another state government. They will also look at it. Telangana is looking at the second cohort of in their sandbox. So you're going to see a lot of this happen in addition to the other investment thing which comes out every day and you track so avidly.
So clearly there's just so much happening. One quick word on this, Dilip. And when you talk to the regulators, the policy makers, and involving stakeholders as we make these policies, what is the response there?
So I think both Sumit and Ashish mentioned there, and I think the best is to quote the DEA Secretary Ajit Seth. Earlier he said that the paper, the discussion paper is going to come out in March. Then, of course, his next statement was, global developments have actually, looking at, relook at the paper, and it'll come out. And I think, given that we had a July budget last year, a lot of people forget that, and we had a February budget this year, now we're in the post-budget. The Finance Ministry, which is the parent ministry in this case, had its hands full with a lot of other things. And I think now, once this parliament session is over, the budget is done, you will definitely see some movement. And they're in constant dialogue with us.
All right, we wait all of that. So volatility is thy second name, but there is investment, conversations, regulation making perhaps, and development, and global players wanting to come into India. So this is a space that is absolutely buzzing for India and, of course, in the global markets as well. But gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out together and making sense of what all is happening in the global markets and its impact, of course, in the Indian markets as well. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Tokenomics. Thank you for watching.